Hey, Liz.
Yeah?
Want to run out for a little treat?
Absolutely.
Great, because right now, Tim Hortons has this deal. A small hot chocolate or French vanilla is just 99 cents.
Wow. All right, how about this? When you're ready to go, shoot me a text. That was fast.
Let's go.
Better hurry. This sweet deal is not going to last. Right now, treat yourself to a small hot chocolate or French vanilla at Tim Hortons for just 99 cents. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons. Limited time only at participating restaurants.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
What time is this? Ladies and gentlemen, the Undisputed Era has arrived.
You have the 25 days of Christmas. Impact's going to have the 25 days of releases.
I send it you to deletion! Yeah!
It's hashtag Alpha versus Omega.
Let's just say hashtag aroused.
No, you're going to step in that ring, and you're going to be looking at me eye to eye, and you're going to realize you ain't got a chance.
Thank God we don't have to talk about it anymore, because she got that cancer out of there.
Sean stole my answer. I'm just glad we don't have to talk about this anymore.
And that's not an insult. That is just a fact of life.
So statistically, we have the bigger chances of actually winning the first ever women's elimination chamber and walking out the Raw Women's Champion. So what do you have to say about that, ladies?
Statistically and physically, we have the advantage of walking out of the elimination chamber the winners. So that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Okay? Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the max.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughan, Sean Garmer, and Paul Leazar.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another great episode of Wrestling to the Max. This is episode 286, part 1, and of course, I am your host, Gary Vaughan. Along with me is Mr. Paul Leazar.
Heyo.
And Mr. Sean Garmer.
What's up, everybody?
And guys, we've got a fun one in store for everybody. I'm really excited. We got some big quick hits coming your way. We're also going to be talking a little bit New Beginnings Osaka, right? And of course, we'll also be getting into some Ring of Honor stuff, so that's going to be cool, the TV taping from this past week. So we've got some good stuff ahead of you, but I just want to throw out a big congratulations to Paul. You got a new job, buddy.
I sure did. Start next Monday. I'm real excited. It might cause some changes to what we're doing here, but, you need money to get by, I hear.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of, ties into a lot of things. I got twins on the way. You got a new job. Sean's got a new job. So all of our systems are going to be in shock pretty soon here. So you get it. You get a system. Anyway, the Undisputed Era, anytime I can get a plug in for those guys, I always do it. But in all seriousness, doesn't mean we're all going away, guys. I don't want anybody out there thinking Wrestling to the Max is dead now. At least for the moment. I'm kidding. No, we hopefully will be going on a long time, but things will change a little bit, and that's the way the show has always been. We've always evaluated what we're doing, how things are going, and then changes some things up. So as things go, we will let you guys know. Right now, at the moment, we're kind of considering some things. Like right tonight, we'll be doing Ring of Honor, but as of next week, we may be pushing Ring of Honor to Thursday's show. This Tuesday morning show may be a lot more based around quick hits, our wrestling news, and then that'll probably be pretty much sub up the show. And then, of course, maybe that Thursday show will be more about reviews and whatever big news that comes out that week we'll probably cover, but it won't be very long. So be looking forward to those shows and seeing how we change up things, but it also makes things a lot more interesting. So that's great. I think it's a good thing for us to kind of change things up and see how things shake out. So But yeah, I also want to really quickly here, guys, mention W2Mnet.com. That's the place where you go get all of our great shows and a lot of the other amazing wrestling podcasts out there on that W2M network, along with all the other great shows that we have to offer. You don't want to miss a minute of the action. So please go to W2Mnet.com. Don't forget to go subscribe, rate, and review over at Wrestling at the Max or the W2M network. Please, whatever one you choose, go do that now. And some big love to 411mania.com and Last Word on Pro Wrestling.com. They support us a lot, so let's go support them, guys. But yeah, without further delay tonight, why don't we jump in it? Let's do some quick hits.
Oh, that's great. The sound isn't. There it goes.
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
If it's not one thing, it's another. Go for it, Gary.
All right. Well, we're talking about our show changing. Well, guess what? WB is changing up their things, and they are looking at pay-per-views to be exact. As of Backlash, they are going to look at doing all combined shows. That's right. Raw and SmackDown will be combined pay-per-views from then on, which, you know, it all falls down to a few things. They've been looking at ticket sales and the fact that they're kind of mediocre right now. And, you know, also the fact that a lot of the, repetition and matches and things like that just kind of cause some issues for them. So they're going back to that old format that we've seen, you know, in the past. And I don't know if it's a terrible thing. It's kind of odd because I've kind of gotten used to Raw and SmackDown having their own stuff and their own pay-per-views. But, Paul, I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around it.
I feel like this lasted about as long as it did the first time around, too, where they did like maybe a year and a half, 2 years of separate pay-per-views before it branched back together again. So, to me, this makes more sense, right? You have more TV time you have to fill, not necessarily pay-per-view time. So this way you can keep your big matches going on there. If you have smaller feuds, you can leave them off with a better understanding of, hey, we got 2 shows we have to book here, you know, so... not to mention the cruiserweights, right? So, I mean, there's other... I think there's a lot going on in play, but this makes sense to me. If it makes pay-per-views more exciting, if it gets you more amped up instead of, well, it's a Raw show, that means I can expect this and this, or it's a SmackDown show, or, you know, whatever. I think this... It definitely helps freshen up things. It definitely helps keep things, I think, moving forward in a better direction as far as, you know, all that goes.
Yeah, certainly. I think what's important is that now you don't have the excuse of, well, one show's like running in place while the other show has their pay-per-view, and then you go back and forth until you have a dual-branded show. Now, all of them are dual-branded. Now, I mean, the problem you're going to have is you won't get, you know, the lower down the line matches, which maybe they're a blessing because a lot of the times those feuds weren't anything you really wanted to see on a pay-per-view. And this also might give SmackDown and Raw some, if you're playing those feuds out, they might play out more on Raw, and you might get some sort of bigger event matches happening on the shows where, you know, hey, we actually ended this feud there instead of, oh, we got to figure out a way to shoehorn it on the pre-show or on the pay-per-view or whatever. Now you can't even fit it on there because you're fitting both shows stuff.
Right.
Just hope this means we're not having like 2-hour pre-shows for every show now.
Oh, God save us.
Yeah. Oof. You know, and you guys are right. I mean, this is going to be, you know, back to major feuds are going to matter. All the minor ones are not going to get any time at all. And they're going to have to get a lot of those payoffs on just the regular Raw and SmackDown shows. And we're going to be to really trying to figure out how they're going to fill those 3 hours and how they're going to separate what matches really matter. It's just, it's let's be honest, now when it comes to Survivor Series, it's not going to be as spectacular because, you know, it's not going to be like they're off the same pay-per-view anymore or anything like that. It'll just mean it means they're intermingling a little bit more, but still same guys, same gals. It does suck for the fact that, you know, a lot of the talent that we get a chance to see that, you know, have been along the lower side of the card, they get time now on pay-per-views. Well, not anymore after this. It seems like they're going to cut down on that now. So, I don't know. I get it for maybe the business sense of it, but on the fan side of it, you kind of feel let down a little bit, I think. I think you kind of feel like it's, you know, back to the old grind again, you know? So.
I just hope they don't do. Oh, let's do cross brand matches because we can now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, if they want to do one every, to try to set some up for the big four pay-per-views or whatever, I'm cool with that. But like, I just don't want them, doing one every show because like, oh, well, now they see each other all the time, so now this makes sense. And,
right.
Like, no, now you're just taking away other feuds again, and yeah.
It's just a bummer. Maybe we're looking at this and it's going to be, everything we're thinking it is, but hopefully they're making it better and hopefully they're finding a way to keep it interesting and keep it better than we're thinking it will be. So, of course we'll have to see how it all shakes out in the end. What has all shaken out in the end, though, for Jason Jordan is that he is not going to be at WrestleMania, of course, and so he's missing out on that big event. And we got a little bit of that on Raw tonight. We kind of got the impression about, everything that's kind of surrounding it through the storyline. But here in the world, we understand that Jason Jordan had serious neck surgery. We talked about this last week, but he will not be at Mania. I feel bad for the guy. I know it's a tough deal,
Yeah, I mean, they were sort of putting all this work into the big heel turn for him, telling that story, and it's all gone away. So that really sucks for, I think, both him and Seth now. I think we kind of got to see them on Raw this week sort of scramble and like, well, we got to throw Seth back into the top story, and fortunately it's kind of open right now. So at least some things are kind of falling WWE's way, but this, you're right, Gary, this sucks for Jason, right? It's a big thing I felt like they were building towards for WrestleMania, and that's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it always sucks when somebody gets injured, and this is kind of one. Again, it's way better for his health that he got this now, and not waiting around trying to wrestle injured, trying to force himself to be at WrestleMania. I mean, he'll now join the crowd of. Seems like you always are missing somebody at one of these WrestleManias that was having a storyline going in. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just so sad. And, I think this is motivation for him. We've seen other guys like Seth Rollins take this and really work towards being better, because of, missing such a big event, WWE.com actually released something that doesn't suck, and that's the fact that they are going to induct Ivory into their Hall of Fame. Yeah, that's right. She's going to be a WWE Hall of Famer, Sean.
She deserves it. She's a part of Glow. Which Triple H noted, so that's good that they're not just, throwing that away or whatever. They, of course, helps when they make a Netflix show out of it, and they can mix some propaganda there. But I think aside from that, she actually had a very anti-diva character that worked really well in the Attitude Era when everybody was trying to. She was the one trying to keep everybody's panties on while they were trying to take them off. Mm-hmm. And she had the great run and right to censor. She was one of the few Attitude Era divas that actually tried to wrestle. So, I think for all that, for things she did in other promotions, I think she deserves it.
I agree. I think throughout the early times in the WWE Women's Division, I think she was the insanely reliable heel. Like the right to censor run, I think is incredible. Even that early feud with Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young, while it was sort of, not great in between the ropes, I think the storytelling and the easy heat it got for Ivory was just money at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And, I always say this, when I started watching, the Attitude Era and WWE and all that, I was a big fan of some of the, ladies on there. And Jacqueline I knew was the toughest. And Ivory, to me, was right there behind her. So that's what always, I think, intrigued me. And not only that, she just fit in so well and just really did some great things. And I agree with you guys. That's so well deserved. I'm so glad this is happening. I know there's some naysayers out there and don't believe this should be the case. But in my opinion, they made the complete right decision. And I mean, it's once again amazing. I said this on the Raw review, but I'll say it again. You know, it's kind of cool to see that they got a guy inducted that was majorly important to the WCW, a tag team that ECW was just huge over there, and now someone from Glow. They really did a great job this year in not making sure that everybody had to be WWE centered. They could be centered around some other promotions and still mean something to the WWE. So glad to see that.
Yeah,
I'm sure something that Dolph Ziggler is glad to see is his new paychecks. Yeah, that's right. He has signed back on with WWE, and for a nice chunk of change, apparently, because the new contract that he signed is a multi-year deal. But not only that, he's getting a little bit more free reign. He's, of course, one of those guys that was looking to be out of the company. He wasn't really planning on resigning, but in the 11th hour, he changed his mind once they put that, price tag out there and said, "You want it?" And he said, "Sure," because they're going to not only just give him a nice paycheck, he's going to be allowed to do some other projects on his own. Of course, he does the comedy. He's got some business ventures outside of wrestling and all that. So he'll be able to do that. And of course, I think that they're going to kind of let him, have some of that veteran status for sure and let him leave shows early. If he, is done with his match, he can go ahead and leave. So this guy's getting some preferential treatment and a nice paycheck. So it's interesting because, he probably could have done some more bigger things when it comes to like maybe going to New Japan or doing some other things like Cody Rhodes is doing, but he seems to be happy with the paycheck.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of a lot of the best of both worlds for him. He's getting the money he wants. He's able to do his outside business ventures like he wants. He can leave early. I mean, he can come to work, put somebody over, and leave and just go about his business now. I mean, if you're going to get paid for it, why the hell not, right?
Yeah, I think we've all kind of wanted to see him do some other stuff, right? Go somewhere else, wrestle somewhere else. But I think we got to realize he's getting older. He probably sees that and says, why not just try to collect as much money as I can, and so I can have more when I do retire. And why go to Impact when they've got all these problems right now? Lucha Underground, I guess he might work there. New Japan, I guess, could always be an avenue for him, but will he really be somebody that works there? I guess ROH would have been really good for him. I think it might have been perfect actually, but I don't know. I think I hated it. I wanted to see him do something because I hate this whole he's leaving, he's doing this, and then he just resigns anyway. But you got to think about it from his career perspective. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. And I think, a guy like, Dolph Ziggler really does like WWE. And, sure, I'm sure he's been angry at them sometimes, but I just think right now it's his home. And I think it's comfortable, and, the offer on the table was just too good to pass up. So no blame there. And I think Dolph Ziggler will still have some good times in WWE. I don't think they're just going to job him out and pay him that kind of money. So let's mention something that's really, really neat. New Japan has been really working on this big, strong style Evolve show that'll be in Long Beach, California. And, of course, we're not getting Naito versus Jericho, but we're getting something else that's pretty darn awesome. That's Rey Mysterio versus Jushin Thunder Liger. And that, guys, that makes me really, really happy. I don't know about you, Sean.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, talk about, I guess, dream match that probably some people wanted to see. You got the Japanese legend against the luchador legend. Liger has a lot of history in, the Latin America, just Mexico and everything else, and America as well. So I liked Mysterio being on there and getting to this. I mean, I don't think people want to see Mysterio all the time, but for maybe a one-off match or something like that, or a couple matches here and there, I think that's great for him.
These guys have wrestled each other before. Granted, it's almost 20 years ago, but they have wrestled before. They wrestled at Starrcade 96 back for WCW. So, Ray, obviously, we got to see recently. He's in great shape. I think Liger can still go to some degree, even though you can certainly see age is catching up with him. I think they'll do something memorable for sure. I just I wouldn't be counting on this being an incredible, 5-star match or anything like that. I think it's two big names near the twilights of their career. Let's see what they can still do together,
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the perfect place because Liger has such every time he goes somewhere in the U.S., it's ridiculous. The pop he gets, Mysterio probably better served to have the match there. I think that's the best place for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly not a like-for-like replacement for Naito Jericho, but they are giving the fans something nice.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and it's going to be something special. Sure, it has happened once before, but, these guys are much further in their career, and boy, it's just going to be a blast. And, talking about that cool match, let's talk about another place that's cool. And that is, of course, the set and I know, right? The temple of Lucha Underground in Season 4, Paul.
Yeah, so Uprocks, they managed to get an interview and got a advanced look inside what the new temple setting is going to be for Lucha Underground in Season 4. And it's an old cold storage building that was actually used to make ice in large amounts for consumer purposes and stuff like that. So I have a picture of it here, but you can also find it on Uprocks' website. And I mean, the set, this is one of my favorite things sort of about indie shows. And we've talked about this on NXT too, Gary, but seeing places turned into wrestling venues or trying to fit a wrestling ring inside a venue that it clearly, wasn't made for, is one of my favorite things about these smaller promotions sometimes. And this certainly I love the lighting here, and the whole setting just looks really cool. And there's the balcony going all the way around, so you have more standing room, and I'm pumped. This looks really neat.
I think what matters is where's the bathroom at.
Boy, that's where all those this video's gonna be. Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, it used to be an old ice house. So think about how many drains they have just around everywhere. So you could probably just whip it out and go. I mean,
oh my god. Wow.
24/7 bathroom promos is what Gary is saying.
I mean, come on, Drago doesn't even hide out anymore. He's always. It's going to be amazing, guys. So I don't know, but
you mean are they going to have people in the freezer now? Oh,
yeah.
This is one of the matches is going to be how do you freeze your opponent?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's dead now. Open the deep freeze. Well, there he is.
Yeah,
he's dead.
That is a thing in Lucha. That could happen.
Oh man, I just can't wait till the Mr. Freeze ripoff comes out of this whole thing. Right? They'll find some way to do that.
I would imagine the gear would be pretty expensive though, unless you could bring Glacier back.
Oh,
I'd mark.
Yeah, I'd be pretty happy. So.
Well, yeah, we can't say anything bad about Glacier. So.
That's true. Right. Yeah, just not allowed. Well, there's something else that's really kind of neat that we got a chance to see this past weekend, and that is, of course, Emma. Yeah, that's right. She made her face well known once again because she showed up at Honor Reign Supreme. Yeah, that's right. The Ring of Honor show that just happened this past weekend. She appeared, and of course, she's going by her indie name, Tennille Dashwood, and she made her debut there. And of course, after such a great debut, we also had the honor to get a chance to see that this whole women's tournament for the title is also revealed, Paul.
Yeah, which Tennille Dashwood is your 16th competitor. She was the question marks, which is kind of cool. So, the first match is going to take place on this episode of Ring of Honor. Gary and I are going to review here in a little bit, but 16 women, you got a healthy mix of outsiders plus Stardom plus ROH Dojo graduates and all that great stuff. I think it's a good looking turn. There's some nice first round matches in here to be had. Deonna Purrazzo versus Holly Dead's one I'm looking forward to. Holly Dead is wayward on the indies right now, and she's really great. And of course you have Kelly Klein and Mandy Leon and Brandy Rhodes and all these names you've got to be familiar with if you followed the Women of Honor product. Plus, Mayu Iwatani and HCK over there on the left side looks pretty good as well. Lots of good stuff to look forward to, in my opinion, here, Gary.
Yeah, I'm really excited. This tournament looks like it's going to be really fun, and it's just too much to handle right now just to think about, some of the great things that are going to take place with that. So I'm really looking forward to it. And Sean, this is really cool that we're finally going to get a chance to see, Emma or Tenille back on TV again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome that she shows up, and it makes Women of Honor once again legit. Everybody's been wanting Women of Honor to be a thing. They made this tournament for it. You bring her in as a mystery. I think that's really cool. Like, you're bringing in a name that people know.
Yep.
And immediately bringing her into this tournament. I think that's awesome for Ring of Honor, and it gives them publicity.
Exactly.
I agree. I definitely agree. Let's talk about something else that's kind of neat. This is the whole thing with NWA. They are actually doing right now this whole situation where they've got Nick Aldis, their champion, taking on other champions, or former champions, I should say. And one of the first ones they got coming up here is none other than James Ellsworth. Wow, what a former champ. Boy, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's former world champions or people who have beaten former world champions, and James Ellsworth fits the second qualifier there since he beat AJ Styles. Yep.
Boy.
Oh, that's great. Hey, it's the NWA. They've been doing their own thing for a while. They're getting themselves publicity any way they can. James Ellsworth's a guy that grabs attention. Like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a guy who's gotten a lot of mainstream attention, and then the last couple of years still has a name worth something. It's if NWA could take James Ellsworth and turn him into something, imagine what else they could do with other people, right? It's interesting.
It's very interesting.
All Japan turned Yoshitatsu into something, so it shows all things are possible.
Oh man, yeah, it's true. And what's kind of interesting about NWA too is the fact that this is like what did Billy Corrigan say, 20-year process apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So he's really working on this long term. So he's got some things get started here, but I think still got that long road ahead to see what they're going to do in the future. And I think that they're doing at least some interesting things. At least this is not boring. I think this is quite interesting. So.
You think when we're doing this show in our 50s that James Ellsworth will have NWA World Heavyweight Champion on his resume by that time?
That's amazing.
I sure hope so.
We're still here at our 50s. Like, hey guys, it's been that 20 years. We're still doing this thing.
You never know. You might just be doing it. So.
James Ellsworth goes back at whatever age he is. I'm going to be a champion now.
I just can't wait to be doing Raw 50 and we're like, Roman Reigns showed up. I can't believe it. It's amazing.
Oh, God.
It was the best part of my night, guys. Yeah. Yeah, you'll hear my kids yelling at me. Yeah. Of course, in the background, you'll just hear me, my kids yelling at me, Dad, stop talking.
Why are you still watching that wrestling?
Yeah, Dad, I thought you were supposed to be in bed by now.
Might have all just put us in a home by that point. We can do the show together at that point.
I know. Yeah. They're like, we're going to kick you out, Dad. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's probably true. But anyway, guys, well, that is our quick hits for the night. We are going to move on from here, though, and we are going to talk about some new beginnings Osaka right after this.
King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
All right.
You should probably do this because I'm also playing a game at the same time here.
All right.
But
yeah, new
it's hard
beginning.
for me to read and press buttons.
I gotcha. New Japan's New Beginning in Osaka took place Saturday, as February 10th. Super early in the morning for us here stateside. Yuji Nagata opens the show taking on Katsuya Kitamura, who continues his 7-match trial series here. Once again, as the whole world expected, coming up short against his mentor and trainer and all that great stuff. In about 11 minutes or so, ends up falling prey to his deadly backdrop driver. I enjoyed this a lot. This might have been my favorite match of the series so far.
I would agree that this is a really enjoyable match. Yuji Nagata got a lot out of him, and I thought Kitamura got a lot out of this too. You know, just getting to trade shots with Nagata. He slammed him down a few times. He had opportunities where it looked like he might get a win. I thought he just did a masterful job of getting the people to go for it. Got out of the armbar. I mean, so I think for the most part, this was certainly the best one. And of course, look, this is a guy that trains with them and everything else, so he knows them. And he's a master. He's he's 50 and he's still out there kicking ass. Like, it's no big deal. Like, he's, our age.
Yeah.
So, this no wonder he's the ageless wonder. So.
I mean, Kitamura has made a name very quickly for his chops, and he hit them on Nagata, and Nagata basically just shakes them off. I want to be that 50-year-old guy. That's who I want to be when we're that old guys. Like, just somebody hits me, I just get pissed and walk it off, Like, it's...
Just build up that pain tolerance throughout the years.
Yeah, just go have... Hey, dude, can you chop me on the chest real quick? I'm trying to build up my tolerance.
Just one a day.
Yeah.
So keep strong.
After that,
I still see Gary doing that, like, just walking by.
Get the twins to trade chops on
chop
him.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. After that, we get some junior tag team action here as your new champs for Pogni 3K take on Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado from Suzuki-gun. Naturally, you have a lot of Suzuki-gun stuff going on here. The attack at the bell, lots of shortcuts. Surprisingly, no extracurriculars going on in this, though, like me and Sean were thinking. However, you do have a chair get involved here. That ends up being enough to do a number on Yo, and then Sho gets taken out by Kanemaru when he gets thrown in a Boston Crab and gets forced to tap out.
How ironic that he taps out to the Boston Crab, but...
I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah. But I think we should have went ahead and just called this, right, that they were going to have the title change, because it's the junior tag titles. They don't care.
Oh, this wasn't for the straps.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay.
No.
I was confused as to whether this was not. But I was like, okay, well, they're not holding titles, so is it or is it not? They were beating them up afterwards, too, so doing the usual. This was actually pretty decent considering all the Suzuki-gun involvement and everything. So. Yeah,
I mean, Despy and Kanemaru, I think, I think they're good. I like them in this role. We're going to talk more about another junior from Suzuki-gun who's getting promoted, seemingly. So that leaves you with these two plus Taka now, and I mean I think those are your three best, and as far as the juniors went there. So that's no problems with me with these two getting the shot. After that, you have 8-man tag team actions. I forgot to count here, as you have Suzuki-gun led by the master himself, Minoru Suzuki. With Iizuka, Taichi, and Taka Michinoku taking on Michael Elgin, Togi Makabe, Kushida, and Ryusuke Taguchi of Taguchi Japan. This was fine, right? I think this is a lot of setup here. Elgin and Iizuka have their little deal here. Makabe and Suzuki also have started a bit of a beef as well. With the Intercontinental title at stake there, and then you have some nice back and forth, I think, between Kushida and Taka, as well as Taguchi and Taichi and all that great stuff. So, where am I going?
Yeah,
with this?
I would agree on that end. The seemed like it was rather obvious at the end that Makabe issued a challenge.
Yes.
And Suzuki accepted. So,
and
so
then killed
Suzuki's
Oka.
deal that he wants to kill all the old guys or the older guys, or
Old
like,
guard, young lions. If you have a name, he wants to murder you.
Yeah, and he just grabbed the barricade, 2 pieces of those like big metal barricades, and was just like, all right. I don't know if he's so cool that he can fall down and he makes it look like it's supposed to happen. So he falls down, hitting Oka with the barricade the first time. Then he grabs it and hits him again. Like, oh, you made me look bad? Take this then.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Suzuki is just a frightening human being. Weird hair, no hair, it doesn't matter. He's going to kill you. It's just a matter of time. And I don't know. I don't think Suzuki Makabe necessarily sets my world on fire, but I'll watch Suzuki kill anybody. You know.
Yeah, you might get some stiffness in there, and Makabe can turn it on when he's in there with the right guy. It's just it could also end very quickly, which wouldn't be bad either.
Yeah, that's true. Taka ends up eating the fall here too after the King Kong knee drop from Makabe, which is probably important that I mention who actually won this, since I forgot to there for a second. 6-man tag team actions up after that. Hanare, or Toa Hanare, or whatever you want to call him these days. Juice Robinson, David Finlay, taking on the Chaos contingent as Jay White, Tomohiro Ishii, and Toru Yano. I think this goes about how you expected. It's more Jay White and David Finlay running into each other, with White end up going back to the elbow strikes continuously to make the ref stop the match after a Blade Runner. Ishii and Yano continue to look strong here as well, especially as they continue. I would assume they're going to get the next tag team title shot down the road against Evil and SANADA as well after this, but I enjoyed this. It's a nice little sprint. This goes maybe about 7.5 minutes or so.
Yeah, I think everybody got something in. I liked what you got out of Juice here, too. You know, Hanare keeps messing with Ishii, and, well...
He's a fool.
You know? That's only going to wind up one way for him, honestly.
6 feet under.
Exactly. Just... Poor guy. But, you know, you're asking for it, so...
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
And then after that, you get the big announcement about Rey Mysterio and Liger set for March 25th over there at Long Beach for Strong Style Evolved, which got a nice little cheer. And then we get Gedo and Bushi. And still, as this match is happening in front of my eyes, I'm wondering just how the heck this is happening. But you actually get a pretty decent match here. Bushi naturally gets the win. Big MX. That's all she wrote for Gedo. If we're positioning to push Bushi again, I'm all about that.
Yeah, I'm always all about that because this dude is great. He doesn't get enough credit for how really good he is. I love his mask. The mask was freaking great, and then it looks like he was pointing at I want to like take your beard out, Gedo, and then Gedo with the dual mask thing as well. So, you know, like that they both played off that, and like you said, this was, I think, better than anyone expected. It was a good match. You know, Bushi's gonna win because it's Gedo. He doesn't win those very much, and that's fine. That's what you should be doing. But yeah, I'm all for just let's push Bushi some more because dude deserves it.
Yeah, got to get some more of these juniors in that singles title mix. I think for sure, just because you can only count on those 4 guys for so long before the matchups get sort of played out. So. Then we get into our string of single matches here with LIJ and Chaos. First up is Tetsuya Naito taking on Yoshihashi. They tried to make you think Yoshihashi had a chance here. He didn't. He loses 16.5.
Yeah, he loses, and it's pretty dominantly by the end. That's one of those where I never got into believing that Yoshihashi was gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sort of affects the match too. It's still good, but I don't know. I felt like I've seen much better from Yoshihashi against someone. Not that him and Naito don't work well together. It just, I don't know. It's that whole, like, you got to have that believability, and it's not there.
Yeah, it's absolutely Yoshihashi still hasn't really been treated. I mean, he's getting wins more often now, but it's not like it's anything huge. For me, at least, that's really kept him around. So, lower mid card guy here trying to face Naito is just it's not going to end well for you, buddy. And then the post-match here, you have Taichi attacking Tetsuya Naito for whatever reason. Taichi moving up to heavyweight. I still don't think it's going to make anybody like you, buddy.
Why are you torturing us, Geto? Why? Like, I mean, him and Naito could have some funny exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that, but it's just like the one guy that people don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just put him where he's even more in your face now. Just, thank you. Thank you, Geto.
On paper, this makes sense. Suzuki-gun needs another heavyweight. I think Taichi fits that as well, just because he is the biggest one out of all of them. I don't know, maybe reinventing his style a little might help here as far as what he does in the ring. I'm not saying I'm hoping for Taichi to succeed, because I still don't like this dude either, but I see the point. Like, I see where they're trying to go.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, at least they're doing something with him, and
Mm-hmm.
he's not just being Taichi and not doing anything.
Yeah, just randomly taking off his pants mid-match,
Right, yeah. We all need that. I just give Geto credit for making something happen with Taichi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody was thinking about that, months ago.
Sure can't tell you I wasn't. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Title match up next. Ospreay defends against Hiromu Takahashi. Unsurprisingly, guys, this was phenomenal. I really thought that Hiromu was going to walk away with this about 3/4 of the way through the match, and then Ospreay just takes him out of it completely. And Oscutter gets him the retain here. I kind of like the idea of Ospreay getting a ring going forward. I kind of do hope he holds it going all the way through Best of the Super Juniors and all that, but this title can get a little hot potato-y at times too. Gosh, I want Hiromu back with the belt so bad. It's the second best love story in Japan behind the Golden Lovers is Hiromu Takahashi and the IWGP Heavyweight Title.
You are not wrong. But how about that video package with the cat?
Yes.
And narrating. Like, that was amazing. That's like that. Man, New Japan, sometimes you just really nail things like that. But no, this match was great. Best match on the show. I liked it a little bit more in the main event. Just these two, I'm sure that Skrull's done this move before, but like Hiromu blocking the cutter with his own neck breaker, that was like really cool. Him just, he's being crazy, but he's also how to be smart about it, and Ospreay's just getting more and more ticked off every time you think Hiromu's got it. Ospreay just has an absolute counter to it. It was so well done. They had such a good back and forth, and I mean, these two just, like, they've wrestled before, and it's like, Hiromu's magic with anybody, and Ospreay just has been so great, and like, you knew you weren't going to get anything probably like below 4 anyway, but they delivered, and delivered really well. I think the interesting thing is too, adding more into that thing with Jay White. in the press conference later, Ospreay makes a not, sort of mentioning to Okada, hey, don't think I'm just sitting here in the sidelines. I'm coming for that too.
Mm-hmm.
And Okada was like, what did he just say?
As far as I'm aware, it seems that a lot of people out there think Okada and Ospreay for the anniversary show is sort of a lock. So I'm down for that in a heartbeat, just to see what happens. The Rainmaker versus the Junior Rainmaker, as it were.
Yeah, certainly. Mm-hmm. I want to see what Okada does with a dude just absolutely flipping him out of the arena and everything.
Yeah.
How do I deal with this?
How does Okada fight a man made of Super Ball material? We'll have to find out. Yeah. Never openweight title match is up after that. Evil challenges Goto for the title. I wanted to like this a lot. It's just sort of blah. They treated this almost like Evil didn't really have a shot at times, and then at other times it kind of looked like he did.
Weird, because Evil's beaten him.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, he beat EC, right? Or does he beat Goto?
I think he beat Goto during the G1, didn't he?
Yeah, but he beat EC for the title, though. That same title.
Right? Oh, Evil, yeah. No, he beat Shibata, didn't he? And then they did the switch back.
Oh, okay. I mean, but he's held that title before, so that's the whole point. Like, how could you say he doesn't have a shot when, he's beaten the guy above you in Okada? I mean, I get it. I mean, it's good, I guess, that Goto gets like a sort of dominant win, which is something you don't expect. I will say, he has a way of making things look really devastating, that like DDT sort of like hanging on the ropes, and then he turns it into a GTR. Like,
yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, that looked awful.
I feel bad for Evil's neck after that. Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's sort of surprising just to see that happen like that, and just, all right, you're being pushed to the side for whatever else Goto's gonna be doing.
Right, yeah. Especially because I felt like this really could have been either a good feud moving forward, or at least something to help keep Evil elevated, and I think sort of did the opposite. So that's super unfortunate. Main event, Okada defends against SANADA, IWGP Heavyweight Title on the line. I think we finally got the match that at least I had been looking for out of these two. I don't know if this was as fast-paced as I was expecting, but the action here was incredible, especially down the stretch. I mean, I know we say this all the time about Okada matches, especially when the title's on the line, but I don't know if there's anybody else in wrestling who finishes a match better than Kazuchika Okada.
No, and especially in this match where it's like, good lord, how many times are we counters going on during this? Like, I will say they did a great job of, especially with the Skull's End and all that, of putting that over and making SANADA really feel like he might actually get a win. The crowd was behind him too, which is important. I think in this, there was times where it felt like they were more with SANADA than Okada as well. So I think that's something to look out for later in the future. Honestly, there was times where I thought like, oh God, maybe they'll do the change here. I was kind of joking when I said that, but apparently, but they did, because they really went after the whole, when you thought it was over, SANADA would kick out or he'd get out of the move and he'd put the Skull's End back on, and you're like, good lord, how many times can Okada possibly get out of this move? And he's Okada, so he gets out anyway. But he ends up winning dominantly. But lord, he really had to take it to the limit with SANADA and avoid tapping out.
Yeah, I mean German suplex, jumping tombstone, Rainmaker. That's how he finally keeps the guy down. He also had that same spot too, where Okada hits the Rainmaker, but he's too exhausted to keep going, and it certainly works with how much he kept getting trapped in submissions by SANADA throughout the match. So, this was expertly done. Once again, Okada adding another incredible title defense to his historic reign, and you keep having to wonder who is going to beat this guy for this title going forward. He said in the post-match, though, he wants to compete in the New Japan Cup this year, too, which is kind of interesting. So, more changes to that format.
They're making the New Japan Cup longer this year. So
it could be a bigger field for sure. Yeah, we'll just have to keep our eyes forward on what's going on with this company going forward. I know they announced the Honor Rising cards today, which obviously has a lot of Bullet Club involvement. The Golden Lovers going to team up for the first time in New Japan in a long time, so that's going to be really cool too.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool. Those cards look like they're going to be something you want to watch for sure. And did you catch Finlay? You know, he made kind of a shot at Jay White towards the end when he's leaving. Like, hey, one of these times I'm going to get you, man.
I look forward to the day.
I wonder if maybe they'll do some kind of U.S. title thing with them.
I wouldn't be shocked. I think that's a good feud going forward, just because there's so much history, and those guys can have great matches with each other seemingly whenever they want to. So, I know as far as Honor Rising goes, I think Beer City Bruiser's getting a shot at Goto for the Never Openweight title. I
saw that. That was interesting.
So that's going to be a thing that I don't know if I'm ready for. I'm going to be upset
if Beer City Bruiser gets more than Evil. But
he might. It's a visitor show, essentially. We got to rate this too, Sean. What do you want to give it?
I think a 7.5 seems fair. You have two great matches here that you definitely should check out: the junior title and the world title. You also have just a good undercard. For the most part, there's some matches that are kind of like, they're fine. But there was nothing bad either. So,
yeah, I agree. I think 7.5 is about right on point. The match of the year candidate, but for the junior heavyweight title match was great. The main event's incredible as well. And the undercard, really, there's some stuff happening here and some good action as well. So if any of these guys interest you at all going forward, it's definitely good stuff to look at.
Well, there you go, guys. Well, that is the New Beginnings Osaka. So we appreciate you guys covering that, Paul and Sean. But now we're going to go on and talk some Ring of Honor.
All right. Ring of Honor this week opens with Dalton Castle doing a promo. He's obviously defending his RoH World Title tonight against Punishment Martinez, who, of course, earned the opportunity through Survival of the Fittest last year. And he sort of talks about how he's not the same guy that Punishment has been used to facing in the past. Now, he's a, quote, different kind of peacock strutting around this place, facing somebody who will fight with everything he has to make sure he will remain champion. There's a lot of good fire from Dalton in this. I really enjoyed this. Not to mention he's still kind of goofing off with the boys at the start of this too, which is always great.
Yeah, this is just classic Dalton Castle, right? This is the best in Dalton Castle you can find, because he's fiery, like you said, Paul, and he's funny. He's just everything that he can be. So I really like this. It was nice because it's kind of been a while since we've seen one of these.
Yeah, I agree. I love Dalton Castle too, so that's probably coloring this a little too. But the dude he's really good, I think, at this part. I think that's why he makes such a great champion. Following this, we have the first team up of Beer City Bruiser and Brian Malonis. They're out there with Silas Young. They're taking on Coast to Coast. This first part of the match here is a little blah to me. I mean, you have a lot of movement at the start, which I appreciate to try to get you into this, but it sort of settles down into big guys dominating until you have Shaheem Ali look like he's about to sort of finish Beer City Bruiser off before Silas Young gets involved, pulls him outside the ring and have a bit of a fight there until Kenny King comes out to make the save, and this gets turned into a 6-man match, which once again I think starts off pretty nicely as well, and I think it ends well too with the whole Phoenix Splash from LSG. on the big guys outside before they end up finishing Silas Young off with the Royal Flush there by Kenny King to get a victory over the champ. By the end of this, I was sort of underwhelmed. Like, I was just kind of like, blah.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of course, Silas Young and the Beer City Bruiser and what they were, and of course, what they become now, kind of becoming a trio, and this is good, I guess, and I'm excited about it. But I don't know, I'm kind of with you on that. I think this was kind of at times just a big brawl, and it really never got to be anything super significant. I'm really not a fan of them making this a triple threat. I kind of wish they'd have played it a different way, just because I don't know. It just kind of was there, if you can say it that way. I just wasn't super inspired by it, and I kind of honestly hated the fact that the whole team of Silas lost.
I think this was sort of a tough one to try to formulate, because you have the first pairing, obviously, of BC Bree and Beer City Bruiser and Brian Malonis. You don't want them to look bad. Coast to Coast just beat War Machine. You definitely can't make them, I think, look bad going forward, or at least you have to keep them competitive. And seemingly they wanted to get some traction for Kenny King and Silas Young going forward. This does that while keeping those two teams mostly safe. I see the reasoning behind it, but I kind of rather you just didn't even bother booking these two teams against each other in the first place. Like,
yes, yeah, exactly. Like, why even put yourself in that predicament?
Yeah.
I just, I don't get it. But for the fact that they are at least doing a big matchup, I think that's what they're going for here.
Right.
So you got to see this match, and I just don't know if it really sold what it needed to sell here. I think that, hopefully down the line they have better stuff.
Right, exactly. Basically, right after this match is over, we cut backstage to the Dogs, who were seemingly watching this on this small monitor. So basically, that Rhett Titus can make short jokes. I'm still not at all sold on this team. They just kind of are there for me, but they sort of set up that they have some problems with how popular C2C has become and all this other stuff. I don't know. I like that this is pretty much an easy gimme feud for C2C, because I do like these guys. I think they have something to offer. The Dogs just kind of are there for me.
Mm-hmm. I think the Dogs are, what they are. They're silly. They're kind of a goofy team, and I think that they're made to be annoying. I think that's something they accomplish every week, that they're on TV. But you're right. I mean, I think in the end they're just fun people to see get beat up. That's the great heel team that you need, and they're definitely that, because people want to see them get beat up. So I don't hate them for that, but yeah, I'm not over the moon about those guys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. After that, we get a highlight package for both Mandy Leon and Madison Rayne. Whoever's been working on production and all that has clearly been watching a lot of the Cruiserweight Classic and 205 Live, because this is basically a page out of that book, right? Here's Mandy Leon, here's Madison Rayne, here's where they come from, here's their goals, here's why they think they're going to win the match. Let's get to the match, right? And Mandy Leon wins this, and I don't think that was ever really in doubt here with this, just because, Madison Rayne has a name and all that, but, with how much they've really pushed Mandy Leon as a front runner to this division, she wasn't losing in the first round. So I was sort of left feeling ho-hum with the match. I thought Mandy Leon still looked really slow. I don't think Madison Rayne really was all that great in this either. I wanted to like this more than what I ended up liking it as, and it's kind of just, I don't want to say it's bad, but it's not good. You
kind of stole my thunder. And hey, I'm glad you kind of said everything I was thinking. I really am, because I was afraid you were going to come on here and say, well, Gary, this was a great way to start this whole tournament. Really happy with Mandy Leon winning and all this. And I was going to have to say, I'm the opposite. No, we agree. I think Mandy Leon looks so slow. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was thinking to myself, is she going in slow motion on purpose? And Madison Rayne, that's just not the Madison Rayne I'm used to seeing. Right. I don't know what it was, but I thought to myself, did Did she leave some of the stuff that she used to do in Impact? I mean, what's going on here? So I'm with you. I'm a little underwhelmed, not thrilled that this was the first match that we got a chance to see on Ring of Honor TV, especially for this tournament. I really expected a lot more. I'll be honest with you, Paul. I totally expected to be blown away in the first match of this tournament, and I wasn't. Please, Ring of Honor, let the next match be really good, because I think that this is something I've been crying for a long time, and people are going to be laughing at me pretty soon that I was really wanting this to happen. So please make the next one really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only other match they taped for the tournament at this taping was the Brandy Rhodes match.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'll just tap out now. People, sorry.
I swear to you, there's going to be good matches in this first round, Gary. We have to truck through some stuff here.
Yeah, it's like watching the pre-show for 3 or 4 weeks straight. Okay, I get it.
We cut to some footage that was filmed last week of Cody going to the Young Bucks after his beatdown at the hands of the Kingdom. He's got a black eye, he's missing his ring, and he's wondering why the Young Bucks didn't come out to save him. And he's like, "Were you guys up in Winnipeg doing stuff with Kenny? Because that's over, man. He's out. He's gone, and he's not what we're worried about anymore. We're worried about me." And the Young Bucks are like, "Dude, we just got here. The plane flight was late, all this other stuff." And Cody wants them to do better, and as he leaves, you can sort of see both Matt and Nick roll their eyes at him. So seemingly trouble in paradise there, and then Marty Scurll shows up and with a sign that has his name spelled wrong on there. and Nick's like, "Dude, come on, read the room." Plus they didn't even spell your name right. Like, come on, man. This is great.
It really is, and you get some seriousness and you get some comedy. It's really fun, and I think it just once again, just builds on what's going on with the Bullet Club in general.
Yeah,
and you have Cody complaining, you have him really saying it's the Young Bucks' fault when really honestly, why are they supposed to be babysitting him? So in the end, I think that this is just kind of one of those little pieces of the puzzle that we're going to see spelling out some dissension even more down the line with those guys. And I get it. And then you're just going to love, the villain bringing the mood up a little bit. So I was down. I enjoyed this all the way around.
I agree entirely. We then cut to the Briscoes, who want to give the Motor City Machine Guns a bit of a heart-to-heart talk. And they're only about making statements now, Gary. They're here to prove that they are the baddest tag team walking the face of the planet, and they don't really care about anything else. So if their opponents end up getting taken to a hospital on account of them, they're fine with that. They want to be the champions once again, and that's all that is on their mind. And this is kind of Briscoes I can get behind, as I've said many times. Just angry and pissed off and ready to kill you at the drop of a hat.
I like it, and I'm right there behind you on that, because they're the Briscoes that just blood is good. That kind of thing is what they want. And I'll just say it this way: I just wish it was less talk and more action. Because I think they've already got the point across to me. They just want to go and kill somebody, and that's cool. So I just it is what it is. But I just kind of felt like, man, I've heard this before.
I think that's fair, right? We've seen them do this in the ring to some jobbers. We've seen them attack people. It's basically placeholder promo here, but I'm fine with it. And that's main event time. Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Dalton Castle defends against Punishment Martinez. You have Marty Scurll on commentary again, who is his usual wonderful self. Production fails me a little here at the start, Gary, because they keep doing these cutaways to the commentary table. And it's not even picture-in-picture or anything like that. It's just, here's the commentary table for about 10 seconds, and then we're back to the match. And then we'll cut back to the commentary table again, and then we're back to the match. It's just, it didn't add anything. It's taking me out of the match, and I'm getting a little hacked off at him for that. But Punishment gets the majority of the offense here. Dalton and the boys basically playing baby faces in parallel, because the boys get slapped around a little during this too. Dalton, however, manages to pull out the win with a big roll-up out of the Psycho Driver onto Punishment to retain. And then in the post-match, Punishment absolutely annihilate the boys with some apron power bombs. I enjoyed myself during this. This wasn't a blowaway match or anything like that, but I think they told a good story. I think Punishment comes out of this still looking good, which is important for Ring of Honor as to how they present this guy as being this unstoppable force. And Dalton getting all the babyface love is the other part of this, and he gets a ton of that during this.
Yeah, you're right. And, the one thing that I will say is that, there were some moments, and I was just like you, kind of like, this is not exactly what I was expecting. But at the same point, both these guys really went out and looked very good in this match. Mm-hmm. What do you expect? Dalton Castle's Dalton Castle, but he's facing a behemoth, a guy that has really been dominant. And so you get a chance to see Punishment Martinez throw Dalton around like he's nothing. Mm-hmm. And so I really appreciate the fact that both those guys got that opportunity, got to look good. And at times, like you said, there were some moments that I kind of was taken out of it a little bit, to be honest with you. But towards the end, I was really curious how they were going to end this thing. And the way they did, it felt right. The roll-up win, because Punishment is a guy that they want to use down the line and have him still be high profile. He gets out of this match still being very high profile. Despite losing, he still looks good. And Dalton, of course, looks amazing and is still your champion.
Yeah, and smart too, right? Punishment decides to keep going on with the punishment, like his name says, and Dalton manages to upset him with a wrestling move, which, if they ever decide to revisit this down the stretch, which I mean, I'm sure they will, just because Martinez killing the boys probably isn't going to sit well with the big dog there, but who knows? Time will tell for this one.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll say this, Ring of Honor, I mean, during this portion of the TV taping, I really felt like they should have been throwing condoms into the audience. This was the portion of the show where protection was a major part of everything that they were doing, right? Protecting the main event, protecting the guys from coast to coast, and, of course, everything. So, anyway.
My God.
I mean, all that protection didn't make for an exactly astounding episode of Ring of Honor TV, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. It was okay, right? I mean, It was just what it was. So, but anyway, sometimes you get those. Oh, but guys, that concludes our show for tonight. We've had a great one, lots of great stuff to talk about. So we just want to, once again, thank you to all the people that are still with us tonight and really enjoying everything that we have to offer over here at the W2Mnet.com. Make sure you come and check our part 2 episode out. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be talking a lot bit more news and some other things. Of course, Impact Wrestling. So we'll be getting into all that. And we'll also be updating you guys on the next episode about maybe some more discussions about how this show may change up a little bit. Some of the discussions will be happening this week. So we'll probably have more information by that time period. At least hopefully. We'll see. And of course, once again, I mean, come check us out wherever you can find us. Of course, the best way to go do that is subscribe, rate, and review over at Wrestling to the Max or the W2M Network. Once you do that, you'll get us all the time. You'll never have to worry about missing an episode, and you'll always have us right there with you all the time. Of course, don't forget to also give us a chance to really let people know about 411mania.com and LastRollProWrestling.com. Both those sites are great. They give you lots of other great wrestling content, and they're supporters of ours. So let's go and support them. We appreciate everything they do for us. Well done. Once again, that wraps us up. We thank you so much for joining us tonight. And until next time, if you're not living life to the max,
not living life at all.
You know it.
The previous podcast is a W2Mnet.com original podcast. For more great content like this, go to W2Mnet.com for the worlds of wrestling, video games, entertainment, and sports.
The best thing about the new $1 sausage and cheese muffin at Tim Hortons is the savory sausage. Ooh, and the cheese. Oh, and the toasty English muffin. Those are the 3 best things about it. Oh, and that it's prepared to order. You order one and they prepare it for you. That's the single best thing about it. And that it's $1. Grab a savory sausage and cheese English muffin breakfast sandwich at Tim Hortons right now for just $1. Great quality at a great value. It's all good at Tim Hortons. $1 sausage and cheese English muffin sandwich. No substitutions. Limited time only. Participation varies.